Okay, at some point in your 30s or 40s, most of us have this moment. We look around at everything we've built, right? A marriage, kids, career, a house, and something in you whispers, "Is this it?" And then you feel like a fucking monster for even asking the question because you're grateful. Of course, you're grateful. You know you're grateful. But gratitude and aliveness are not the same thing. And somewhere along the way, you stopped being able to tell the difference. My guest today followed that whisper all the way into an open marriage and then wrote a New York Times best-selling book about it. But here's what I want you to hear before we get into the conversation. It's not only about open marriage. It's really about what happens when a woman finally stops disappearing. All right, stay with me. Let's get into it. Okay, loves, I have to be honest with you. I have been thinking about this conversation for weeks because our guest wrote a book that made me stop and put it down and just think for a minute. Molly Roden Winter is the author of the New York Times best-selling memoir, More, a Memoir of Open Marriage. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the story of a happily married Brooklyn mom who one night storms out of the house, meets a hot younger guy at a bar, tells her husband about it, and her husband says, "Go for it." And then everything gets very, very complicated and very, very real. But here's what I want to say before we dive in. This episode isn't just for the women who are curious about open relationships. This is for every single woman who has ever looked at her life and asked, is this all there is? Who has felt the desire for more passion, more aliveness, more self, and didn't know what to do with it. Because Molly's story is ultimately about one thing. It's about a woman refusing to disappear. She lives in Brooklyn with her husband and her two shockingly grown sons. And I'm so glad she said yes to this conversation. Molly Roden Winter, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Feminine Rebellion.
Thank you, Natty. I already have goosebumps from that intro. I'm like, yes, I refuse to disappear. That's what I did. I'm like, what the hell did I do? I don't
Yes.
know. Sometimes we need someone else to tell us what we did.
Exactly. Well, that's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think it's true.
It is true. So before we get into the book, I want to go back to the woman who wrote it.
Mm.
You were a mom of two younger kids in Park Slope. You had a husband who loved you and a life that looked really solid from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
What was actually happening on the inside of Molly? The feeling that you couldn't name yet.
Yeah, that I couldn't name yet. I definitely think it was totally unconscious for one. So definitely couldn't name it. I was starting to have migraines that it was only later that became a clue of how migraines were a sign that I was at war within myself, of the being that I thought I was supposed to be and the being that wanted to be released and come into her own. But yeah, there was maybe suffocation is a word that comes to mind, not being able to get a full breath, never feeling like I was doing anything right. I was teaching and a mom at that time, and felt like I was doing a half-assed job of both, but like still couldn't ever manage to do anything that felt like it was for me. They were 3 and 6 at the time, and I was teaching 8th grade. So, that kind of life.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I had no idea that this was, I guess this was normal. This is normalized in our society, that this is the way you feel. And you're just, and I was grateful. I was grateful for my beautiful children and my family and my home. And I loved my job even. And, there really wasn't anything wrong that I could point to. It was just this feeling like I was, needed to escape from something that I had always wanted. And it was very confusing.
Well, it's both and, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
we're taught that gratefulness, the things that we should be grateful for, should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks to the title of your book
Yeah, which
more.
wasn't the title originally, but I was so happy with the title when it came to me, because I was like, that word appears throughout the book so many times, and it's my mother who says it in the way that it finally becomes the title. But yeah, I think so much of what we're taught to be grateful for also is like giving. Like, aren't you so lucky that you get to give yourself to your children and to your marriage and to your work, and it's all about that. It's so much about giving yourself away without any talk about how the heck do you keep your own cup full when you're
Yeah.
leaking out the bottom nonstop, you know?
Well, you had everything that patriarchal world culture
Yeah.
tells us that you need as a woman to be happy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you checked all the boxes.
I did.
And I hear this over and over again that, in my practice and with just the thousands of women I've talked to over the past decade, that, you know, it's you wake up one day and you realize, if you're paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough.
And you know what? Enough is one way to think about it, but I don't know what word I'm coming up with right now, to be honest. But it's that there's something about the conformity of those boxes. You
Mm,
know what I mean? There's
I
something
do.
about the one size fits all model that we're fed of
Yeah.
this is what happiness looks like. And so for me, it was like needing to stretch into my own authenticity. And, and I met my husband when I was 23 years old. Like, I
Yeah.
was a baby. I didn't know myself,
Yeah.
and had my first child at 29, which isn't a baby, but it feels by
It's
today's
baby.
standards, it's pretty young. And so you're just kind of launched into this life that, without really knowing who I was anyway. You know what I mean? I really didn't know.
And without knowing there are other options.
Yeah,
And
for sure. For
right? Like,
sure.
we're just kind of launched into this, do really well in school,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
That was me.
right? Me too. High achieving mindset, find a good man,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Check.
right? Check, move into a home together.
Mm-hmm.
Check.
Mm-hmm.
Start talking about babies. Check.
But lucky us, our generation gets to have it all. We get to have a full-time job too, Natty.
Oh my
Lu-
God,
Aren't
right?
we lucky? I'm so
Aren't we
lucky that I get a
lucky?
full-time job and I get to be the full-time caregiver of like two young children. And we're
Yes.
supposed to be so grateful that we get to do it all and lean in and all that. I'm sorry,
All that
bullshit.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And the cherry on top of it all is that if you aren't grateful, if you aren't waking up in the morning with like Cinderella, or with the birds chirping and ready to make those lunches and get yourself out to school and with a big fat smile on your face, something's wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
You're
something,
broken.
you're
Yeah.
broken. Like, you must be doing something wrong.
Right. Yeah, and it must be internal to you,
Yeah.
because you look around and everyone else seems fine.
And guess what? They're
They're
not.
not. Right, but I also seemed fine, and I had good friends that thought I was like, we all thought we were fine. We're finding
Sure.
out now that we're not fine, because we're
Exactly.
finally I am very grateful for the women of the millennial and Gen Z generation, because I feel like I learn a lot from younger women about what we don't have to tolerate.
My
Like
daughters,
yeah, they're educators.
yeah, they're educators. Well, yeah, I woke up at 40 in the same place. Like, there must be something wrong with me. I went on like a spiritual journey to figure out like what I needed to fix
Yeah,
about
yeah,
myself. And frankly, the whole self-development world is rooted in this. It's rooted in the patriarchy. It's rooted in these like 7 steps to fix yourself.
right, right. Yeah, I've
That's
I've
fun.
been on a journey too, and when you circle back around too and recognize there is nothing to fix, that's very
Yeah.
revolutionary. But it's also, that doesn't change the day to day of what you're facing when
Yeah.
you do find yourself with young children and a full-time job and a screaming migraine, or all these other, I have friends with fibromyalgia, or with chronic
Yes.
fatigue syndrome, or with My mother has Parkinson's, and I am absolutely convinced, I wrote about it in the book, that
Yeah.
she calls it, maybe it's my unconscious rage, she said to me.
Yes. And it
And then,
probably is, Molly.
yes, it probably is. And so not to discount actual physical symptoms, because they are 1000% real, but they are caused because we don't treat ourselves with the respect of, like, hey, what is this being need in order to
Yes.
flourish? It's just like,
Yes.
what is the bare minimum I can do to survive?
Yeah. What are
You
all the
know?
things I should be doing?
Right. And all the shoulds get piled on
Yeah.
top of all of it. Yep.
So let's circle back to the beginning of the book. You storm out of the house. You meet this guy at a bar.
Yeah.
You tell your husband,
Yeah.
and he says, "Go for it."
Yeah.
Now, most women in that moment would have, laughed it off, shut it down, or run.
Yeah.
You did not. What made you say yes? Was it courage? Was it something else?
Definitely not courage. I was terrified. I mean, although one can say, right, that courage is being afraid and doing it anyway.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just don't know why you do the things you do, but you feel like you have to do them,
It was a pull.
There's a part in the book where I make a therapy appointment, and then, he's asking me to think about why I want to do this. I haven't slept with this guy who I call Matt yet. And it's clear that if I continue therapy, I'm going to have to figure it out. So I just stopped going to therapy for a little while, because I was like,
Avoid.
I was like, I have the solution to this. I'm going to do it without thinking about why, because the why underneath was the part I was avoiding. That's the part you don't want to look at all. But doing the thing that's distracting you maybe from why it is you're doing it, and that's why it's so complicated, because it was the right move ultimately, I think, for me, and it was totally unexamined and chaotic and all sorts of problems. I always say, like, my book is not a how-to manual. If anything, it's a how
That's
not
what I love
to.
about it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. And I don't know why I want what I want. And it's, the book covers a 10-year period, because I feel, and I'm still figuring it out, to be honest. The book ends in 2018 and I'm still figuring it out. But I did feel like there was an itch I was scratching, and it wasn't just sexual,
Yeah.
because my husband and I did and continue to have a really great sex life. But there is something I get from other relationships that I really value now. And what I got then and what I get now is very different. And it's really morphed over time, because I think I needed different things at different times. But yeah, and I did it. I did
And
it.
I think we all need different things at different times.
Sure, right. And this idea that at 24 you're going to meet, or at 41, no matter when or was it 60, no matter who you end up being in a partnership with, my feeling is it always has to have room to allow for the expansion of both people, however that ends up looking, right? And sometimes that ends up moving towards divorce, because you're moving in a way that's not compatible, but it doesn't have to be a failure. It doesn't have to be the end of a relationship. Even you can be like, oh yes, this is my good friend and also my ex-husband. I mean, I think that's possible. And my husband and I have grown so much. We've been married 26 years now, because we've allowed for this to happen. But it hasn't been easy. Growth isn't easy, as we were just talking about. Growth can look like falling apart. In fact, it generally does.
I think it always does.
Yeah.
Because
I've never seen pretty growth.
Yeah, growth requires you to let shit go.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
painful. And there's grieving in there and so much pain. So real expansion is like, it's like hitting the gym and lifting super heavy weight, and then 2 days later laying in bed in an incredible amount of pain.
Right. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have done it. Maybe you overdid it a little.
Right.
But it's just feedback that, like, yep, you're growing. Yep.
Yeah,
This is what's happening.
So if I were to ask you, if I were to circle back and say, why did you do it now in retrospect, would you answer with the desire for varied experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was looking to be viewed, because I think so much of my self concept in my 20s and 30s and even into my 40s was derived from other people.
Mm,
So I think there was a way in which I wanted to be viewed as something other than a wife and a mother. I was having a real hard time viewing myself as anything other than that,
mm,
and was feeling rather empty and small and like I didn't quite recognize myself or know anything about myself. So
resonates.
it was a way also. I was always a very, very good girl. I always did everything right. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a way of, breaking some rules and being bad
Mm,
and, doing the
yeah.
thing that everybody said you can't do, but somehow I was getting away with it because my husband said it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt very dangerous. It felt, risky. It felt like all of those things. But I was kind of hungry for that, for things that didn't follow the script. I just wanted to go off script.
Good for you. Here's to more women going off script. And like to circle back to the why again, it's like sometimes, I have a desire to do something. If my husband says like, well, why? I'm like, I don't have an answer. I just have an impulse.
And we don't always have to figure it out with our brains. Sometimes our
Right.
hearts know before our brains
I
do.
think that's so often. And to, you know, inspire other women to also just like go after the feeling, because the feeling of desire, it doesn't always make sense.
No, no. And, it gets into tricky business when you've got, when you have a contract with your partner that does not allow for exploration in a
Yeah.
sexual way. My husband and I had had conversations before we got married. It had been a long time. And I certainly never thought that after I had kids, I would have any interest in non
Right.
monogamy. But we had talked about it before we even got engaged. And he had told me, hey, if you ever want to sleep with someone else, he was expecting me to, because I was not a virgin when I married him, but I was virginal.
Yeah.
He was like number 3,
Okay.
and the first 2. So it was like I didn't have a lot of experience, and he was 5 years older and had dated a lot. And so he was like, there's no way you're going to be okay with only having sex with me for the rest of your
Wow,
life.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring that in. So you and
Yeah.
Stuart built this framework, the rules, the agreements, the ground rules that you set, and then broke
Yes.
one by one. People hear open marriage and they either like romanticize it or they recoil.
Yes. True.
What does it actually look like on a Tuesday?
Yeah. Right.
Right? Like who was like handling homework and bedtime? How did it really function?
Yeah, like I did something kind of sneaky in the book. I said at one point, like, over the next 4 years, I saw Matt a handful of times. Cause like
Yeah.
the truth was, during those early years, there were a lot of demands on my time. And I wasn't I wasn't even labeling us really as having an open marriage. It still felt like this kind of experiment that we weren't
Mm.
giving a name to. And it was very sporadic. It was still often enough to cause all kinds of emotional turmoil. My husband started seeing other people too. That was really, really, really hard for me, even though I told him he could.
I can't imagine. Like I'm like I want to, but I don't want you to. That's
Yeah.
where I am. I'm like I have all the desires, but you
Yeah.
can't.
And that's a big one. That's a big one. How do that's, another part of the story. But back to your question about what did it look like on a Tuesday? It looked pretty normal, really, for a long time. It wasn't until my kids got a little older that I felt a little more comfortable going out more.
Hmm.
I also stopped teaching and got a little more freedom in my work life. We were never the types who had like a shared Google Calendar. Like people, so I remember one interviewer asked me, like, do you think you would have benefited from like a relationship coach with expertise in non-monogamy? And I just burst out laughing because I'm like, this was like 2008. You know what I mean? There was
No
no
such thing.
that was not a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looked like from the outside looking in, it looked like we were just regular people, but then like with these kind of occasional forays followed by all sorts of emotional fallout, but also it was making Stuart and me have like incredible sex. I mean, we already had a pretty good sex life, but it was just, it was waking up my libido big time.
I mean, I can only imagine. It's like you come home with like this renewed like vigor for sex and pleasure, and you bring it home to your partner. I mean, I'm like this even after a night of dancing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And then it got tricky because then I got kind of possessive of my vigor. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, well, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. Like my husband said something at one point about like, ooh, like can't wait for you to tell me all the sexy details. And I was like, excuse me, this is private. Like it became, then it started to become kind of private. And we went through all of these incarnations of it. And that I tried to do justice to in the book, because it's not just like a linear story at all, as most growth is. You spiral around, and things that I thought we had worked out and like, oh yes, I have dealt with my jealousy. No, I haven't. It comes circling back all the time. Of
course.
So you're never quite done ever with any kind of growth. And,
not
open marriage is no different. No, not till you're done. You're not done. You're not done. I
describe it like a labyrinth. It's like you do this, all this healing, and then it's like you come back towards a circle and you're like, fuck, this again? I thought I dealt with this.
I like the spiral staircase image because you're circling around and you're seeing the same view, but you're a little bit higher up.
Ooh, I love that. A little bit more distance.
A little more distance. A little more of the picture is emerging. And so
I love that. It's like, I've been here before. I know the view. There's a little more distance, a little less tenderness, maybe.
Yeah. But it can still be frustrating when you're like, wait, I'm here again, until you start recognizing the pattern and seeing, oh, this is part of it. And this is, Jung's theories of individuation. This is not a completely new concept, but it was pretty new to me that, that growth looks like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you wrote an entire book about something incredibly deeply personal, your sex life, your insecurities, your marriage at its rawest moments. At what point did you decide this was a story that you were going to tell publicly?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I really never intended to write this book. I started a meditation practice at the end of 2018. And in spring of 2019, I was in meditation and I literally got not just an idea, it felt like a premonition that like, I am going to write a book about open marriage. And I was like, wait, what? And I had all these reasons why I couldn't. Number one, I was like, I'm not a writer. I was an English teacher. I like to write, but I didn't consider myself a writer. It's not like I had an agent or anything. My younger son still didn't know we had an open marriage. And, spoiler alert for anyone interested in reading the book, my parents also have an open marriage. And I wanted to write about that too, but my sister didn't know about them. You know what I mean? So it was like, I was going to really be opening a can of worms, and I didn't. And I thought, oh, I can't do this. And I just kept feeling like I had to. And my first draft was terrible. I couldn't find an agent. So then I was like, okay, I guess I'm not doing that. But then I went back to the drawing board and ended up finding an agent who really worked with me. Every time I thought like, okay, well, the door is closed. Thank God, because I don't really want to do this anyway.
Yeah.
It would just like
the universe presented it over and over again.
That's the way it felt. Yep. And I feel like writing the book was almost as growth inspiring as the experiences themselves, because I was being really forced to look at it. And the reason my first draft was terrible, and my husband's the first one to tell me, this isn't it. He was like, you're not telling the truth. And to his credit, because I was trying to make it pretty rosy, or I was trying to I think I had a little narrative distance. I was like trying to reassure the reader that I'm like fine now. I'm like, don't worry. I know this, I wasn't actually saying this, but the subtext was, I know I look like a hot mess here, but I'm actually fine. I was writing it but because I was writing it in the past tense, and I started rewriting in the present tense as if it was happening now, and that's what changed it. But then I had to go through it again, and I would like take writing breaks to just lie down and cry, and I would have to stop writing for like a week at a time because I was seeing myself and seeing all this pain that I just kind of swept under the rug as I was experiencing it. But it was really important. It was a really great process. And I really recommend, I mean, for those who are maybe a little masochistic, I feel like writing, even just journaling though, there's a reason why writing is so powerful, because it puts you into the observer witness kind of brain where you're looking at yourself. And you can also have a lot of tenderness for yourself when you do that. I'm like, oh, that poor little thing who was really flailing, you know, I could see her differently as I was writing.
So much compassion for her.
Yeah. I had to write with compassion for her as opposed to judgment of her.
Yeah. What did Stuart say when you told him you wanted to write a book about this?
He's pretty amazing in that regard, in lots of regards, but he was like, all right. I mean, neither of us, I sure didn't think it was going to get published. I didn't think I was going to do it. I didn't think it was going to get published. I didn't know what, but he knew I was feeling compelled to do it. And he was like, go for it. Like, you know, he's a go for it guy, like he did with you know, and that's maybe, you know, what I love most about him is his encouragement of me to do whatever the hell I want most of the time. He also likes to be able to do whatever the hell he wants. And we give each other pretty open rein to do whatever we want, with the caveat. I'll circle back to, you mentioned a lot of rules that we broke. Our one rule now is whatever happens, whatever we do, we have to help take care of the other person when they have a response to it. You know, so it's not like you get to just do whatever you want and then walk away and be like, sorry, that's your problem. Which, you know, I used to get up, for example, telling Stuart, yes, you can date other people. And then the first time he dates another woman, I'd fall on the floor collapsing in sobs.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of was where we were at the time. And Stuart was like, but you told me I could. You shouldn't feel this way. Like, why are you feeling this way? You said it was okay. Now we understand that feelings are not rational. And I might say, like, yes, of course, I understand. Like, I have freedom, you have freedom, but I'm still going to have feelings about it. And you might need to spend some time with me, reassuring me after a date that I'm still loved by you and important to you, and you're person and all of those things. And that's that's the big rule now. Like, you do whatever you want, but if I have a freak out, guess who has to handle it with me? Yeah.
So what did you, I mean, because this is the biggest thing. I mean, this is the thing with open relationships.
Jealousy.
Yes. Is jealousy. So like, I mean, because are you still navigating it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so much better. I have a much easier time now. But like, for example, I have two partners now besides Stuart, and one of them moved to Australia. My partner of 5 years, he's Australian, and he moved back in October. And so these last 6 months have been a little bit harder for me because of that. And, you know, that kind of makes me get a little more jealous when Stuart is going out if I don't have a plan. I also know it's good for me. And there are times that I really need to go inward and not be going out all the time. And I do have another like amazing partner who does not live in Australia. So like, nobody needs to feel sorry for me or anything. But I also feel like I now am so much more equipped to, first of all, give myself the reassurances and the love that I need. And second of all, Stuart is not going anywhere. Like, we've been married for 26 years. We've been open for 18. We keep choosing each other. We keep choosing each other. And I know, because we talk about it, what he gets from his other partners, what I get from my other partners, it's just something entirely different. It's not that I want a replacement Stuart. Stuart is Stuart. And he told me when he started dating, he's like, I'm probably not going to date people who are really like you because I have you. I'm going to be dating women who are very different from you, you know? And it kind of takes the pressure off, because I'm like, which means I'm not like, No, not real. I mean, it's really not. It's kind of like everybody's in their own lane. It's about, again, it's about authenticity. It's like,
Yeah.
I am me, and I don't have to be anything else than me for my husband. And that comes
Mm,
up, I think, a lot of times in marriage, especially with sex. Like if there's something that one partner really likes and the other partner doesn't, it just
mm,
goes off the table, or the person who doesn't like it has to change a boundary.
mm.
And so those kinds of things used to happen in our marriage, and they don't anymore. So that's
It's
a real
so
gift.
interesting. You said something like about Stuart getting, dating different kinds of people. And then you said, you get to be you. When you said that, I felt like a sense of freedom in my body.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because
That,
it's really, you don't have to be anything but
yeah,
yourself.
there's no contorting
No.
there's no longer the pull to please almost in
Yes.
ways that you might before, when you feel like you have to check all the boxes
Yes.
or fulfill all the needs of this person. It's like, no,
Yeah.
actually, this is a puzzle,
Yeah.
and I click to this side of your piece and these people click to the other sides of your piece,
Yeah.
and my
Like,
piece is the biggest,
yeah.
but you have all of these other things that fill you up and make you feel complete and whole.
Yeah. And expand you and push you. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily want to be married to, there have been a lot of men that I've loved, and I don't necessarily want to be married to them, because marriage involves a lot of those pieces lining up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I might not even want to live with certain partners because their lifestyle, what they like to do on the day to day, is very different from me. But when we get together, I get to have this totally new experience,
Mm,
which is really, expansive. I keep
yeah.
using,
Yeah. No,
synonyms for the
it's,
same word,
well,
but
it's one of my expansion, expansive. It's like one of my favorite words. It's a theme I'm always like coming back to. I'm like looking for the people who are my expanders, the experiences that expand me. And, you
it's the
know,
purpose of life, in my opinion. It's to
yeah,
expand and grow into our fullest, most authentic selves.
I agree. And that's exactly what you're doing. One of the things that struck me while reading your book was that, you have become like the main character
Hmm.
of your life. And, a lot of women, especially high achievers, have spent decades being the supportive character, playing the supportive role in everyone else's story.
And as a mother, too, that's kind of like how we define motherhood, is that you're there to support and be, we compliment mothers who are selfless, for
Yeah,
example,
exactly.
and think about what that means, that
Yeah.
you've annihilated yourself.
Yeah.
And that's actually not the right kind of mother,
No.
because we want to model for our daughters and for our sons, all our
Yes.
children, that women are whole people with full brimming over selves that we
Yes.
need to get to know.
Exactly. So when you look back 18 years
Hmm.
to the beginning of this journey, what would you say? I know we keep saying expansion, but what would you say that this has done to you,
It has
for you?
made me, I mean, like a real simple word would be confidence, but I think it's so much more than that. It's like I am really at home in my own skin, which doesn't mean that I'm always happy. You
No,
know,
no.
I'm actually a super emotional person. And if I
Yeah.
cry a lot in the book, but I don't think crying is bad. I used to,
No.
but I think I feel things really fully, and I allow myself to feel things fully. And I really live as if I don't care what anybody else thinks, because I don't, which is not to say that I'm like rude or, steamrolling over other people, because I feel also like everybody should be able to do
Yes.
exactly what they want. It's kind of like the let them theory on crack or something,
Right. Right.
let them, like people talk about let them, but the idea like, but wait, I can't like let my husband like sleep with other women though. Like that's
Yeah.
not okay.
Let them.
But if you're going to let them, you got to like to take it all the way to the end of the line.
Yes.
That concept is to really allow, because you're right, when you really allow everyone else to do what they're going to do and allow yourself to do what you want to do, that is freedom. That's
It is.
complete freedom. Nobody else's actions can impact you then.
Exactly.
It's rather remarkable.
It is remarkable. I mean, I would use the word embodied to describe you now, like just fully in your body, in your being.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, boy, oh boy, like I did not know myself sexually very well either. And I was very much a pleaser. And, I had not had good sex before I got married. So Stuart was really the first good sex I had. But then imagine if you only have one partner that's like good sex and you think, oh, this is what good sex is, right?
Mm.
And any time that it wasn't quite good, I would feel like it was my fault, or like as maybe my interests or needs or body changed over the years, I was able then to really own my desires. And I still feel like I'm still discovering things about myself. Or sometimes it's taken me 10 years to be like, no, I think I'm pretty sure now I do not like group sex. Like
Yeah.
but I used to be like, oh, I could just try it one more time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like there has to be something good in here for me.
Yeah. Like, oh no, I don't think it's for me. But now I can be more like, no, that's not for me. Even though I'm the lady who wrote the open marriage book, I'm like, people assume a lot of things. I'm pretty vanilla, but it's like, just like learning those things and being unapologetic about it. Like, this is what I like and this is what I don't like, but sometimes that changes and that's cool too.
And being
or you might, sometimes you like one thing with one partner and not with another. And that's a real mind fuck, And my husband was like, wait, but you let him do that. And I'm like, yeah, but
it's different with him.
It's different with him. Yeah.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
So your book is being read by a lot of women who are in conventional marriages and have zero interest in opening them, but they're completely riveted. And I think it's because underneath the non-monogamy, there's actually a story about whether two people can actually really keep seeing each other after years together. What do you think has kept you and Stuart together through all of this? Like, what's the actual glue?
Yeah, I mean, I think we really, really love each other and like each other. You know what I mean? If we didn't really love each other and like each other, what would be the point?
Yeah.
But like, we have tons of fun together and he's very wise. I think he would also say that I'm wise and fun. And he writes me cards on my birthday and anniversary. And Valentine's Day he used to. Now he's like, can we let go of Valentine's Day? And I'm like, sure.
Yes.
But I get like 2 really nice cards a year where he says beautiful, beautiful things about why he loves me. And so now I have like a drawer full of them. I quoted from one of them in the book. But that kind of thing, it goes a long way. Communicating to the other person what you love about them, even if it's like almost the same as the last card you wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just taking the time, keep telling me. I'm not going to get tired of hearing it. I'm never going to get tired of hearing it. So like, I feel appreciated by him. I feel celebrated by him. Not all day, every day. I also get super annoyed and we both get on each other's nerves and, stuff comes up. But the reason we're still together is because I think we love each other and make each other feel loved. Yeah. And that's really what we want at the end of the day.
Yeah. And value each other's desires.
Yeah. Respect each other's right to have a free life apart from us.
Yeah. That is the healthiest thing. It's to be kind of two individuals that, dip back into each other and then have their own lives, their own interests.
There's a Rilke poem.
Thing.
Yeah, well, there's a Rilke poem that gets read at weddings a lot and it gets translated differently. But my favorite translation is it's like 2 entities that love, what is love? 2 entities that border and salute one another. Isn't that lovely? I got
chills.
Yeah, not every translation uses the word salute, but I love the
That's
salute.
That's a great word. That is a great word.
Yeah, right. Word. And then and to feel that from your partner, even if you're off on a date, is a pretty
high
cool
five
thing.
On the way out the door.
Yeah, have a good time, baby. Have a good time.
Yeah, have a great time, Molly. Can't wait to see you tomorrow morning,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so good.
But it took a long time to get there. So I also didn't want to make it seem like it's all
no,
smooth
you have
sailing.
not, believe me, you have not made
Yeah,
it seem easy or love and light by any means.
it's not.
So this is the real deal, and that's what I appreciated about it. So you said in your form you believe this story has something to offer even decidedly monogamous women.
Yeah.
So, what can a woman in a traditional marriage who will never go on a date app or never meet Matt at a bar take from what you've lived through?
I mean, I think there's a reason why women just love hearing other women's stories in general. Like, I read Wild without any interest in hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yes.
But I don't have, I sometimes say, I had an open marriage so that you don't have to. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I
Like, yeah, right. Because
love
it's
that.
hard. But like, if you're kind of curious, like, what might
Yes.
it be like? But like, I think we learn from each other's experiences, and we're not all going to have the same experiences. That's not the point. That's just as bad as all trying to tick the same boxes of being the perfect mother and wife.
Yes.
It's not like we're on the hunt for like, oh, she did it right. Now I'm going to
Yeah.
do it the way she. No, 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 no. You have to look inside yourself. The biggest thing I think is finding ways to be free, finding
Yes.
ways to be free to grow,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that can be a freaking ceramics class. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, it doesn't always, and part of what I did, and I talk about it in the book, is I did start playing guitar and I did start boxing and I did
Mm,
start, like you said, a great night dancing can do it. Like
yes.
giving yourself permission to do the things that make you feel free.
Yeah.
And that can change over time.
And it
When your
does.
knees
It
get bad,
always
you might
seems
not be dancing anymore, but you
right.
still might be doing something else. You
Right.
will if you
I
commit
think
to it.
for me, it's like the permission, the like what I got out of it was like the permission to want more.
Hmm.
And then the it's like the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the conversation with your partner.
Yes.
Like speaking your desire. So it's like not enough to know that you want more of something. But then what's integral to all of it is communication, like communicating that to your partner, being brave enough to talk to your partner about what you want
Yes.
more of.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting. I've been
Good.
married for 24 years. We've tiptoed around open marriage. My husband's 10 years older, and I'm 50, he's almost 60. And now it's a joke because he's like, well, you're going to go out there and, have, you know,
Some
17 people,
fun.
have some fun. And like, I'm on the other side, I'm a little bit further along. It's not going to be as fun for me. And I'm like, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Right,
Let's talk
indeed. And
about it.
like and that is something that my friends have told me that my book sparked lots of conversations
Yeah.
among the decidedly monogamous. I have one friend who was like she's still good friends with one of her ex-boyfriends, and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to take a trip with him because they wanted
Mm,
to go visit a mutual friend in Las Vegas, and her husband won't be fun in Las Vegas. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
loves him for lots of reasons, but not everybody's a Vegas guy, right?
Right.
And so her ex-boyfriend is a Vegas guy, and so she was like, I really want to go to Vegas with this guy. And it was after, she had read my book,
Yeah.
and he was like, okay, she was like, I understand we do not have an open marriage. This is not a sexual thing. I don't even want to have sex with him. I just want to go to Vegas with him. And he was like, okay. But like, these are the things that we tell ourselves aren't allowed. Like, oh, I'm a
Exactly.
married woman. I can't go to Vegas with my
Oh,
ex-boyfriend.
I'm a
Sure you
married woman.
can. Sure you can. You can go to Vegas with whoever you want.
Exactly. Baby freedom.
But you talk about it, and you don't say it like that, like I just
Yeah.
did. You say it the way she did, saying like, hey, I know this is kind of a prickly thing that I'm asking,
Yes.
but this is what I'd like to do, and I'm wondering how you would feel about it. And
Yeah.
sometimes they surprise you with what they say yes to.
Yes. And even if those desires aren't met or heard the way you want them to be heard, it's almost like my feeling after reading the book is like it's our responsibility. Like
Yeah.
if we're in partnership, in decades long partnerships, like it's our responsibility in order to be honest partners.
Yes. And honesty is really the hardest thing. That's why so many people who react to my book, like, oh my God, I get a lot of that,
Yeah.
pushback of like, that's immoral or whatever it is. However, we normalize infidelity and like
Yeah.
adultery is normal and open
And
marriage is
porn is,
abnormal.
and so I'm not going to
Porn,
cheat, but I'm going to spend, 2 hours on a porn website. It's like,
because I don't know how to ask for what I
because
really
I don't,
want. Yeah.
exactly, because I don't know how to ask for what I really want. It's like it's twisted,
Yeah.
actually. It's twisted.
Yeah. Yeah. Conversations are hard though. Like, especially when you're not practiced at it. But like, I feel like listening to a podcast like this and like inviting your partner to read something with you, to listen to a podcast with you, to like, that can often get the conversation started too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So this book's ultimately about a woman who refused to shrink or keep shrinking, who decided that her desire, her pleasure, her full aliveness was worth the mess, the risk, the discomfort. So for the women listening right now who haven't let themselves want what they actually want, maybe not necessarily an open marriage, but something she's been editing out of herself,
Hmm.
what would you say to her?
Yeah, first get real clear with yourself, right? Because like it's so, I mean, not knowing what you want is, I think, sometimes the first problem. You haven't had, when you've been pleasing other people for, a good chunk of your life, it can be very hard to figure out even what you want, right? So I think it's great to just introduce some play into life too,
Yeah.
and to be like, you don't have to commit to your new passion or hobby or whatever it is, but to allow yourself to do things as we were saying, just going off script,
Yeah.
and maybe to have some friends that are in on it with you, but off script Saturdays or whatever it is, to do something that you wouldn't normally do, just to just see, like, is this something I want to do? I don't.
Yeah.
And allowing yourself that imaginative power is where all creation begins, right? Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't write a book till I imagined it, and you
Yes.
couldn't start a podcast until you imagined it.
Right.
And so the first thing you do is you imagine, and imagination is very low risk, free. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Do it from your bed.
You can do it while you're falling asleep. You can
Yeah.
do it in the shower. You can give
Yeah.
yourself all the permission you want to just imagine some different things and to see what gets you excited. I love the idea. I don't know if you've heard this idea that your emotions are your GPS,
Oh, totally.
right? And so
Yeah.
like when you're like, oh yeah, that feels like a pretty, I'm drawn to that. When you're
Yes.
drawn to an idea,
It's a feeling.
right?
It keeps
Yeah, it's a
coming up.
feeling in the body. It's a
Yeah.
feeling in the body. And so just to pay attention to all of those things and to let yourself
Yeah.
explore even in the confines of your own mind and heart, to
Yeah.
explore what speaks to you.
I love that, to start small. I
Yeah.
will often play with myself the what if game. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh, what if, it's like, what if I started a podcast?
Right.
What if I did this other thing? What if I went to Morocco? What if, like, what would that look like? And then
Yeah.
it's like your brain is just like flooded with
And
it.
it can start, open marriage can start that way too. And sometimes that's as far as it needs to go to get everybody like revved up again, to
Yeah.
even say like, how would you, like, if you have like a work crush or something, and to be
Yeah.
like, and to talk about it honestly, I think it's a big
Totally.
deal to like ask your partner, like, how would you feel if I just like asked this work crush out for a drink?
Right?
You know what I mean? Because like
Yes.
a lot of times all you want is just like an evening of flirting. That's like all you want.
Yeah, exactly. And like, to even make it less, scary, something that I always play with my husband is like, we'll be out and, I like women too. So I'm like, I'll be like, oh, she's hot. Do you think she's hot? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like that bartender. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we'll imagine taking her home,
Yeah. That's super
and
fun.
it's like, we just play that game and it's just like spicy and fun. And it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just like,
I used to do that too. I should do this more with Stuart. Now I feel like he's got all his, everything he needs, but I'm like, I used to, yeah, I'm not interested in women, and I so wish I
Yeah.
were, because it feels like it would make my life a lot richer if I were, but
Yeah.
I'm not. So, but I would like, I know his type. And so I'd be like,
What
at
about
9
her?
o'clock. Yeah. Just like as a little present.
Exactly.
I'd be like, I just wanted you to see her because I knew you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun.
And then it just takes away all of the sting and the venom of being
Yeah.
attracted to another person. It's okay. We're all just in these bodies, and they're different bodies, and we're aging. But it's like, I used to get very upset about women being younger. And I say used to, but like it can still crop up. You know what I mean? But much less. But now I'm feeling my kind of sexual power as a woman in her 50s now. I'm like, you can't bottle this shit. Like,
no, you can't.
There's no 30-year-old who's got what I got. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can go sleep with all 30-year-olds you want. I know you'll be back.
It's so true. And that's the thing about being like a wiser, older, sovereign, embodied midlife woman.
Yeah. There's nothing unsexy about it.
Something that cannot be bottled.
No. And it has to be earned.
And it
the hard way, 1 year at a time.
1 year at a time. I'm so proud and thrilled to be entering my kind of, I guess they call
You just turned 50?
I did in March.
Yeah, nice. I'm 53. I'm loving my 50s so far. I mean, I'm in menopause and I don't love hot flashes, but I call them power surges now.
Oh, what? I'm going to use that.
Yeah. And it's like, a lot of women I know use the patch or whatever. I kind of like the reminder of it's a reminder of my power, because I think, not for generations, most women didn't live to be in their 50s. You know what I mean? And so the fact that we're entering this stage, it's like something is like, we're getting struck by lightning. Like I'm getting like every couple of hours, like that.
And we're still here.
That can't be accidental. That's gotta be, I feel like I'm like, something's going on. You know what I mean? And I don't want to wipe it away. So
we're the most powerful things on the planet. That's what I think.
Oh, we 1000%.
I mean, look around, look at the rise. I mean,
and the consciousness, that the raising of consciousness is everything. And I
feminine
think
rebellion.
Women in their 50s are at the forefront.
We are. I'm so proud.
Because we still got energy too,
We do.
But we have energy for all of this.
We have energy and wisdom.
We have energy and wisdom.
That's it. Okay.
I love being in my 50s.
Me too. Okay, last one. If you had to name the single thing that you know now about yourself, about desire, and about what a real marriage can hold that you didn't know before any of this started, what would it be?
Love is infinite. We're made of love. We're built to love. And we can trust that love will get us out of just about any sticky situation, even if it's a loving divorce. Even if your husband hates you and you still, your ex-husband hates you, you can still love them. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't cost anything to love. It just costs your fear.
Molly Roden Winter. Boom.
Thank you. I didn't know what I was going to say till I said it, but it's true.
It just came out. It
just came out. That's how it happens when you're getting power surges every 2 hours.
Right? Oh, God. You are a force.
Oh, thank you so much. This
so
is
much fun. So much fun. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I know that our listeners are going to gobble this up.
Thank you.
To everyone listening, we're going to put a link to Molly's book, Molly's Instagram. Is there anything else that you want folks to check out?
No, I do like to tell people that I read the audiobook, because people get a little, it can feel a little like having a book about open marriage on the nightstand. You know what I mean? So it's like, just
oh my God, that's amazing.
People have tricky times sometimes explaining why they're reading the book about open marriage. But I love hardcover books, or softcover, whatever. I like print books. But I just like to tell people that I read the audiobook, and you can you can get it. People don't know that you can get audiobooks on Spotify that are already part of your subscription too. So
yeah. Okay.
That was a recent discovery for me. So
So
Easy ways to do it surreptitiously, because it can be
okay, I
a little dicey
love
to
that.
read it.
I love that. Okay, women, you are going to eat this book up. You're going to eat it for breakfast and lunch and dinner. Okay, so read the book, follow Molly. She's brilliant.
Oh,
Molly.
thank you, Natty. This was lovely.
Yeah. Love you madly, everyone, and peace out. Mwah.